In 2025, companies raced to deploy AI coding agents, but by November, the Wall Street Journal reported that few had seen a return on investment. By mid-year, many had already started abandoning generative AI pilots, sliding into what Gartner calls the trough of disillusionment in the AI hype cycle. What went wrong? Was the technology overhyped, or were we looking at the wrong ledger? Start with the most visible line item, token spend. Every time an AI coding agent like Cursor or a custom GPT-4 based assistant writes a function or debugs a script, it processes thousands of tokens through an API call. By mid-2026, the numbers became alarming. The Register and CIO.com both reported that token costs for AI coding agents are on track to rival the salaries of the human developers using them. Think about that. An organization paying a $150,000 software engineer might see its token spend match that salary for the agent. This isn't a far-off scenario, it's already happening in teams where agents run full-time across multiple repos. And unlike a salary, token costs scale per keystroke equivalent, so an agent that loops or retries a failed build burns cash with every attempt. The initial excitement of free speed masks a direct per-unit cost that grows linearly with usage. The more an agent works, the more you pay, creating a paradoxical incentive. You might want to minimize the agent's activity to control costs, directly opposing the productivity gains you hoped for. This turns the agent from a productivity lever into a metered utility, where every line of generated code has a price tag. Token fees are just the tip. Beneath the surface lies a sprawling infrastructure that agentic AI demands. Deloitte warned in late 2025 about hidden costs of agentic AI deployment, and they weren't exaggerating. To keep an AI agent stable, teams need orchestration servers to handle task queues, monitoring dashboards to catch hallucinations, versioned prompt registries, and integration middleware that glues the agent to legacy systems. These aren't one-time setups, they require constant maintenance, scaling, and security patches. In a typical DevOps environment, the infrastructure to support a coding agent can cost as much as the compute for the primary application itself. And because agents are unpredictable, they might spin up 50 parallel analysis tasks, the load can spike, leading to over-provisioning and wasted cloud spend. This infrastructure layer often gets forgotten in ROI calculations because it's not on the model provider's invoice, but it shows up in your AWS bill and your on-call rotation. When you combine token costs with the hidden infrastructure, the total footprint can double the originally budgeted AI spend. Many teams discover this only after the first month's cloud bill arrives, triggering a scramble to add cost controls that the agents weren't designed to respect. If infrastructure is a hidden line item, the toll on engineers' minds is more costly and much harder to measure. In February 2026, a software engineer's warning went viral: AI fatigue is real and nobody talks about it. Business Insider picked up the story. The fatigue comes from the constant mental overhead of supervising an agent that writes code faster than a human can review. Developers must context switch between their own work, agent-generated PRs, and the endless task of verifying that the AI didn't introduce subtle bugs, security holes, or nonsensical logic. Each accepted suggestion feels like a small win, but each error erodes trust and forces double-checking, leading to a cognitively exhausting loop. Unlike a junior developer who learns and improves, the agent makes the same mistakes at scale, requiring permanent vigilance. This mental cost translates into mental fatigue, a review loop that never ends, slowing decision-making and fueling burnout. The very creative problem-solving skills you hired the agent to amplify get drowned in verification overhead. So while the agent appears to boost output, the human brain is running a parallel, energy-draining verification process that rarely gets logged in any timesheet. The cognitive toll doesn't stay in one person's head, it spills into team dynamics and creates organizational friction. As VentureBeat noted in June 2026, agentic AI solved coding and exposed every other problem in software engineering. When an agent churns out code, the broader organization must absorb it. Product managers need to define specs more precisely, QA teams must write tests for scenarios they never imagined, and architects have to re-evaluate system coherence. Integration meetings proliferate. Security reviews become bottlenecks. Suddenly, the promise of faster development bogs down in coordination costs.
This friction is what analysts later pegged as a major drag on productivity gains. Deloitte's reality check called out these organizational costs as a hidden risk. In effect, you're not just deploying a tool, you're re-engineering the social fabric of your engineering department. The excitement of a 2x coder is tempered by the 0.5x multiplier on team throughput when everyone's role changes. The net productivity gain after accounting for coordination costs often staggers to a modest fraction of the advertised boost. So why does all this matter for the productivity panic of 2026? By mid-2025, many companies had already entered the trough of disillusionment, abandoning pilots because the ROI wasn't there. The narrative shifted from AI will make engineers 10x more productive to AI coding costs are eating our payroll. This swing was driven by looking at only one layer of cost at a time, token spend, then infrastructure, while ignoring the long-term organizational adaptation. McKinsey published a cost versus value analysis in mid-2026, arguing that enterprises need a holistic view of total system performance, not isolated line items. The panic misprices the true net effect because it fails to account for the learning curve. As teams redesign workflows around agents, the friction declines, cognitive load gets redistributed, and the token spend may be offset by higher value creation. We're not saying AI is free, we're saying the bill looks different than we thought. The real cost is in the transition, not the destination. Hidden costs won't vanish, but they can be managed once we stop treating agents as plug-and-play magic. And that's the core of the mispriced panic. We're measuring the wrong expenses at the wrong time. Agentic AI isn't a bad investment, it's a mispriced one. The four hidden costs, token spend, infrastructure, cognitive fatigue, and organizational friction, form a compounding burden that can swallow the advertised productivity leap. As Deloitte's